Kia ora, good morning. This morning's fruit of the Spirit is faithfulness. Faithfulness means keeping your word or doing what you say you will do.
Let's have a look now what James and his granddad are going to be talking about this morning.
James, I've got the glue. Where are you?
Here, Granddad.
Oh, you do seem down in the dumps. Let's go and fix that ornament of Mum's you broke the other day, like I promised you we would.
Promises. I don't suppose it'll be mendable.
Of course it will, James. I promised you I could fix it.
Promises. Everyone seems to make me promises and no one seems to keep them. How do I know that Mum's special ornament won't be like the glue you've bought? And then it'll just be in 3 pieces and I'll still be in the doghouse.
Please cheer up, James. I wouldn't have promised you I could mend it if I couldn't mend it. You see, in a few moments, that ornament will be back in one piece again, looking as good as new.
I do hope so.
Why don't you tell me about all these people who seem to have broken their promises to you?
Well, first it was Evie. She promised to go to the cinemas with me to see Happy Feet last Saturday morning. The film was due to start at 11:30, so I turned up at 11:15 and waited for her the whole hour, but she never turned up.
I'm sorry, James. That must have been very disappointing for you, as I know you wanted to see that film.
She promised me as well.
Perhaps there was some reason why she couldn't turn up, James. I know Evie's mum is very ill. Sometimes things happen that we can do nothing about that stop us from keeping our promises.
I do suppose so. And then Michael went and told on me to the teacher that I had put a spider on Harriet's chair when he had promised me he wouldn't tell.
I expect you got into a fair amount of trouble for that one, because if I remember rightly, Harriet is very frightened of spiders.
She's a big baby, that's what. You could have heard her screaming from France, let alone the next door classroom. I feel very angry with Michael for breaking his promises to me.
Perhaps Michael promised something that he was really unable to keep, because knowing your teacher, she would have been determined to get to the bottom of it.
She did threaten to keep everyone in for 2 hours detention if she didn't have the name of the offender quickly.
Oh dear.
But that's not the worst thing, Granddad. I haven't told you about Kylie.
Kylie?
She promised to buy me a new Xbox game for my birthday.
How could she possibly afford to do that, James? Each game is really expensive, and I don't think she gets that much pocket money.
She doesn't. She told me that her dad was really, really rich and could have anything I like for my birthday because she really likes me. So I told her I wanted this new game for my Xbox.
Right.
When I opened my present for my birthday, I was so excited. Do you know what she had given me?
Do tell me.
A book of jokes. As if I need a book of jokes. Promises.
James, I think Kylie promised you something that she was unable to keep. People do that sometimes. I seem to remember someone promising that they would never, ever use the hairdryer to dry the cat's fur again. But then, because they like playing practical jokes, they couldn't keep their promise.
All right, Granddad, so I break promises too. I just found it rather hard when other people break theirs.
It is, James. So it is just as well that I have managed to buy the right glue to fix your mum's ornament then, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Thanks, Granddad. I know I can always rely on you to keep promises. You are so kind to me.
Before we do the ornament, I better ring your mother. I expected her train an hour ago and she hasn't rung.
Oh dear.
What is it, James?
I think I've broken a promise. Mum actually rang ages ago and asked me to tell you that the train had arrived so you could collect it from the station. Mum made me promise her that I would tell you as soon as I got off the phone. Sorry, Granddad. I forgot to tell you.
James!
Isn't it amazing that we have such a faithful God who always keeps his promises? Even though we try to be faithful, we do sometimes fail, just like James did this morning. He had been unfaithful to his mum by forgetting to tell Granddad that his mum was ready to be picked up. You might tell your friends that you are going to do something and then you don't follow through with what you said. That is also being unfaithful. However, if you do what you say you are going to do and follow through with that, that is keeping your promise and being faithful.
In Genesis, we see an example of God's faithful promise to us. He said that He will never again send a flood to destroy the earth. Do you know what sign He gave us to remind us of His faithful promise? It's a rainbow. So every time you see a rainbow in the sky, you can be reminded that it is a sign of God's faithfulness to us. And remember, God never breaks His promises.